All right, welcome back to Emissaries from the Void, Liminal episode number 2.
2.
Right? Yes. Yep.
Yes. We let's see. 1.
We recorded one that we
2.
scrapped. That's what confused me.
Yeah, because it wasn't good enough. We tried to do
Yeah.
like live commentary, and we've decided that that's not going to be our thing.
Yeah.
At least not yet. Please stay tuned for potential live commentaries. We just have to figure out a better way to do it. That's all.
Yeah. So basically, this week we have more to say about Jane Shoenbrun.
Yes, thank you for saying their last name because I was going to butcher it again.
I mean, I don't even know if that's correct. That's just what we settled on based on phonetics.
I'm going to go with you being correct on that.
Okay, good.
I'm literally disabled with saying last.
So we reviewed We're All Going to the World's Fair, and I saw the TV Glow, and it's been a few months since we recorded those episodes.
Yeah. Whoops, you guys get to see behind the threads a little bit there. We don't put these episodes out right after recording them.
We record them live, and they upload directly to the podcast, straight to your ears.
Yeah, we're pioneering special telepathic technology.
Mm-hmm.
But these liminals we do record basically before they come out the week before. And I think that that might be a good policy just because it does allow us to interact more directly with you viewers.
Yeah, maybe.
Tristan, you want to tell them what we originally were going to do this liminal on and then we were really disappointed by?
Well, that's maybe some strong language, but we watched The School is Watching, which we mentioned in one of the episodes.
Yeah. Well, I was disappointed.
Okay. I guess
Tristan's pretending like he wasn't disappointed by it, but he's just hiding his real feelings from me.
Okay. Wow. Damn. This was a short film that Jane did in school. Was that?
Yeah,
right?
I suppose, like, based on everything I can tell, they did it as like their final for film school or something.
Yeah. And it's basically a video collage of actual recorded school announcement videos.
Yeah, morning announcements. So you mentioned you were homeschooled, right?
I was homeschooled through like grade school, middle school. I went back to public school for high school.
Did your high school have morning announcements? Like,
yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's not a thing that every school obviously does, but any school big enough to have a video production department does have these. I took place in them. I did a few myself. I never got to be on camera. I was the camera woman, but and the editor, because I wasn't in that video production class. I was in the one that was editing the video production class.
Okay.
So, my school was big enough that we had layers to our video production.
Wow.
Yeah. I just didn't want to do the morning one because, like, in order to be on the morning announcements, I would have had to been at like the right at the start one, and I had I had painting class basically at that time. So, anyway, point is, they're weird. It's obviously amateur effort, where you're cutting your teeth. It's supposed to like get you used to the idea of being on camera and editing it and delivering information in a way, it's all that. And, there's a reputation that if your school had the video production department do the morning announcements, they were a little awkward and also like maybe a little revealing about certain things.
So they string together a series of clips from actual school announcements, and it's mostly normal stuff, and you get like it's humorous. It has like the awkwardness that you would expect, and then there's stuff that's like them trying to be SNL or something. There's an interview with like Saddam Hussein or something.
Why don't you just kill yourself?
Yeah.
And like something like I cannot believe that was put on the morning announcements.
2001, 2002 was a wild time. Yeah, you could get away with that stuff because of like the gung-ho patriotism of the
political post 9/11 political climate.
Yeah.
That was definitely something that you could get away with. Ultimately, though, like there's a couple of like implication things in there that really are pretty messed up. Like there's a girl who was like, yeah, this guy came up and lifted up my skirt and I was so embarrassed about that. And it was like, whoa, that's like actually sexual assault. But, you know, of course, this is the 90s, early 2000s. Like all of these clips are from like 94 up to like 2002 or give or take. So, you know, you get that kind of clip and it's like, that was 20 years ago. And it's like, it does kind of exemplify like how different our society is now than it was before. I think that that's kind of a good thing to take from this.
Maybe. I hope so. Like, I'm not in high school. I don't.
Well,
I don't know
what I just mean is like
school.
Using these high school morning announcements as like a core sample of the cultural climate of the time period that this was from, basically.
Yeah.
You know, like ultimately it's like we would never, like, someone lifting up someone's skirt at school would not fly today. Like my brothers are in high school and I know for a fact if one of them went and lifted up someone's skirt, that they would get expelled like straight up. Okay. Like it's just not a thing that would happen the way that it did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we have had a lot of progress and, you know, some would say we've overcompensated. Overall, I was disappointed because I was expecting it to be a little bit more voidy than it was.
Yeah.
You know, again, as a good, like I said, a core sample of the social climate of the 90s up through the 2000s, early, like the beginning of the 2000s. Just a very interesting little experiment. Yeah. Obviously, I've got nothing against collage. You make collages. We've made one together. It's a fun art form. I don't necessarily think that that's the problem. I just think that maybe could have found more odd things to put in the compilation or something like that. And it's kind of weird because like Jane's first 3 things that were made by them are all compilations of other media, because they did this and then they did 2 documentaries and we were like tempted to watch it, but then when we realized that it was just a bunch of like pre-existing media put together.
Right. It's so it's called a self-induced hallucination.
And it's about the Slender Man craze.
Yeah, it's the Slender Man phenomenon, and, you know, pretty obvious that it led into we're all going to the World's Fair.
Oh, absolutely.
Thematically. But it's, you know, from what we could tell, not any original content, just like kind of.
It is interesting to watch
together.
The transitional fossil, basically, that we're all going to the World's Fair is, because basically Jane made 3 projects where there were just like compilations of other existing media put into a context to tell a narrative.
Yeah.
And then we're all going to the World's Fair has that like vibe of like playing next video. And then we go to I Saw a TV Glow and that's not there at all. Like,
yeah,
it's interesting to see that transition of them as an artist.
Yeah.
Which I really respect. I respect it. It's not like I'm like, obviously these were successful enough to get them in the right place at the right time for them to experience the right connections so that they could get in touch with people from A24 to make We're All Going to the make I Saw a TV Glow.
Right.
Because it's not like A24 just like shows up and it's like, hey, time to make a movie. Yeah. You have to kind of meet the right people, even though they're the one they're like the Lionsgate of this current decade. Because back in the day, Lionsgate was the one that would make all the weird indie, slightly like indie adjacent movies.
Okay.
And like they're the ones who would like make a really weird script happen. And then now Lionsgate doesn't really do that as much anymore. They're a little too mainstream. They're a little too big. But A24 has kind of picked up that bag. And
right.
I don't know if you've seen a whole lot of A24 movies, but I've loved every single one I've seen for the most part.
Yeah. They are known for high quality content. I did look at a list of like every A24 movie, and there are some stinkers on there, but
sure, but they're a production company. Of course, they're gonna have bad films.
Yeah.
But like that movie Heretic, that's a really good horror movie. Don't know really it fits our vibe. I saw it in theaters. It was really good.
Yeah.
Don't want to spoil it because I may want to show it to you, but the point is that like clearly Jane made the right connections with their early work, and that was the right place at the right time for them to then make I Saw the TV Glow, and now they're going to make what is it called? The
Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma,
which I cannot wait for because that sounds amazing. It's going to be the greatest thing ever, or it's going to be awful, and there's no in between for that. And I have hope it'll be really good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
And then they're also releasing a trilogy of books.
Yeah,
Called Public Access Afterworld, and based on the synopsis of those books, they sound vaguely YA, but I don't
like the setup sounds like very kind of like Goosebumps-esque.
Right, but given Jane's calling card, I'm expecting them to be more
Hardcore.
adult oriented. Yeah, like using the set dressing of a YA novel to be actually really scary, probably.
Yeah.
Which I'm good with. I'm vibing here for it. And I'm definitely going to read those books. They're supposed to come out in March of 2026, the first one. So I think that I'll definitely do a liminal about that because I'm a reader, as we've established.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I don't know. Anything else we want to, any closing thoughts? Oh yeah, you had some things to say.
We had a lot of things to say about I Saw the TV Glow.
Right. So anything we want to say about We're All Going to the World's Fair before we move on to I Saw the TV Glow?
No, we already went back and recorded an extra 20 minutes for that one.
Just making sure.
Stuck in.
It's been a couple of months. All right. So final additional thoughts on I Saw the TV Glow, because you had texted me some pretty interesting things.
Yeah. I've been, as the episodes come out, I've been kind of going back to it, and I watched a couple of videos that people had done about it, and it's really cemented it as one of my favorite movies.
Yay, me too.
It's so fucking good, and it's a testament to like how rich the text is that some of these videos, I watched one that was like 2 hours long and covered largely different topics than we did, aside from the broad strokes. The person who did that video was called Aranock, Aranock, and she's a trans femme person who deeply connected with the film, and
as a lot of us tend to do.
right. Highly recommend that you look up her video. I believe it was called Everybody's Wrong About I Saw the TV Glow.
What a provocative title.
Right. But
See,
a lot of it was about her frustration that people were like trying to analyze it without grappling with the transness of it, which
I think,
silly.
Like, I think that any non-conforming identity can take something from the movie.
Right.
But yes, it's impossible to separate the at least queer message at the very bare minimum from it. Because like
I think it's more of a trans movie than Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which we may get to at some point. But
right, which is your favorite movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I remember you showed it to me, and honestly, I would want to do it for an episode just so that we can once again rehash our very different perspectives on the movie.
And have an episode where I get to do most of the talking.
Yes. I know.
Because I've seen it 7 times.
It's not my fault that we've just been rolling movies that are things that I have a lot of things to say about. I'm sorry.
I know. Yeah, it's been kind of stacked in the occult category lately.
It's been Ari's show for the last couple of episodes. You guys will see as they start to come out. But
in a few months. But
in a few months, you have to wait. Some things have to be endured. That's what makes the pleasures all the sweeter.
Yeah. But like one of the things that I thought about, because I've been like going back to especially the monologue scenes from Tara and getting sound clips for the teaser that I did and GIFs to like promote with. And I cannot watch either of those scenes without instantly tearing up. Like literally, I turned off the audio to get the gifs, and then I turned it back on to like kind of like see where I was, you know, to like caption it or whatever. And like 3 seconds, and I was like weeping, and it was the line, "Isabel, oh my God, I saw yours too, and it's still beating." Talking about finding her heart in the pink opaque, you know, in the real world. And it struck me how much of like a kind of microcosm of the premise that line is, because, you know, each of them found themselves in this TV show, and they also found each other through the TV show. And Tara especially, like she connected with it first, and she connected with it the most, I think it's fair to say. And she fell in love with Isabel, who she sees on the screen, and she's sitting next to this like husk of Isabel who's like so closed off. And, you know, once she sees a glimpse of her true heart within Owen, then she, you know, becomes obsessed with like bringing that life back out of her.
Yeah, and I think I said something along the lines of, you know, it's the art that we share with each other that really brings us together at the end.
Yeah.
You know, like, obviously it's a very extreme romantic example in I Saw a TV Glow, but like, you and I became friends over our shared love of the void, basically. What we have come to define as the void. You know, it's like that. And I really respect what you had to say about that. And I don't really have anything else to say except for the fact that, like, for me, the scene that makes me freeze up and tear up and cry is the scene where Mr. Melancholy tells you that you don't even know you're dying. Like, it's just, I've never found a more perfect. Will you shut up? God damn, cat.
Just power through it.
Anyway, it's like, I've never found a better example of the despair that like I feel on a regular basis. You know, like, obviously to someone who is mentally healthy, maybe they don't understand what it's like to just wake up some days and feel a crushing, choking despair preventing you from like seeing the world in color. And, you know, like wanting to give up, feeling like you're being buried alive just by the sheer weight of existence. And like, I have good coping mechanisms for those things. Most people would not look at me and see someone who's clinically depressed. But like, I'm hella depressed all the time. And it's just like how life is. I don't know. Like, so the same way that like you really resonate with the message of connecting with somebody else because of that, finding each other in the art that you enjoy together.
Honestly, it's a little bit different than even that, because it's like the part that like really tears me up is the idea of like seeing someone's true self within them, and like,
and they don't see it.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah.
Struggling to pull that out of them.
And that's like the quintessential trans message. You know, like the going out onto the interwebs, onto the great internet, and seeing some people post some things, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for you to figure that out. Like, you see you see like some like male presenting person post some shit, and I'm like, I hope you figure that. I hope she figures out who she is eventually. It's one of those things. Oh, wow. We're really in our feelings right now. Like, good God.
So, excellent movie. Watched Aronofsky's video, which had a lot of stuff that I didn't pick up on, like details of like, oh, these were the same actor, or, you know,
we kind of touched on it with the with the Marco and Polo connection.
Yeah. There was another one that I have now forgotten, but there's just a lot of rich detail put into the world.
It's a piece of art, like a real piece of art. Like, okay, look, every single movie has had thousands of people work on it, basically. Like any big movie is going to have like so many people working on it, special effects, producers, writers, actors, all that shit. So, it's one of those things where like you're always gonna like every movie is a piece of art at the end of the day,
right?
But this is like what I would say is like a real, genuine, emotional piece of art with like a lot of dimension to it. This is a painting that like I want to like hang up in my house. You know what I mean? Like it's
a rich text.
Like one of the few movies to be a 5-star for me.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh my God, no. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Just like picturing like a whip cracking and a bunch of vampires. Just like you won't get your blood ration.
That's almost the plot of Phantasm. Like he could.
I can't even right now. The Vampire Slayer. Oh no, because like is it a vampire who's enslaving people, or is it a person enslaving vampires?
Yeah. Anyway, I never watched Buffy. I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
My mom was really into it, so I've seen a lot of out of context.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of Buffy references in the movie that went over my head.
Same. I did. What? Okay, that's cool. I had no idea.
Yeah. Like the character Tara in Buffy is like one of the lesbian characters that's...
Oh my God, you're so right. Okay, because I remember that like that was like a big thing back in the day, was that like they made her lesbian, but then they erased her later. Like it was like a whole thing.
Yeah, they killed her off.
Yeah. And then they like minimized it.
Yeah.
Because like it was a little too forward thinking for its time. I remember that now.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, okay, for like a nationally syndicated TV show, it's hard to get away with things.
I guess that read implies that someone else came in and said, you got to kill the character off because they're a lesbian.
Yeah, probably. I would believe it.
I would also believe it was just Joss Whedon, like trying to be progressive, and then like, oh, this will be so tragic and powerful, and not understanding like the kind of... I would believe that as well.
When you have only we have a character who represents in a community, and you only have one of those characters.
Well, 2, but
still, but you kill them off. Like it sends a different message. Like if it was a show with like a lot of queer people, then it's like, okay, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You can kill one of them off, and it doesn't come across like you're removing that representation from the show.
Like you don't have to convince me that it was a bad move, but I can definitely see Joss Whedon like doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fuck Joss Whedon.
I didn't even watch the show, so why am I talking so much about it?
Because it was relevant.
Yeah. And yeah, just like kind of the writing of the Pink Opaque, they said was like very
I can
reminiscent.
See it. I felt like it was more akin to like a little bit younger of a demographic.
It's drawing from a lot of different...
like the whole idea of sleepaway camp, which by the way, like what a bougie ass thing. Like could you imagine as a kid going to sleepaway camp? Like it's like a whole thing. It's a real thing. And it's like,
well, what do you mean by just a camp that you sleep away at?
Well, it's like so basically it's just like it's like a mini summer camp is what it is. And it's like it costs a lot of money. It's like it's a thing that only like rich kids do.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've been to camp.
Never. I was too
But
poor.
it was church camp.
Oh, well, okay. That doesn't count.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I also went to like a youth group thing, but like it was to somebody from the church I went to's property, and they had built like cabins on their property.
Huh.
Going camping for 3 days versus going to this big facility with a bunch of people and like all this stuff. It's just a very expensive thing to do, and it's only a thing that suburban kids from upper middle class households and above have experience with. But it's a trademark of YA TV from the 90s and 2000s.
Gotcha.
Because the protagonists of those shows are always from super well-off families, and it's never really addressed. Like if you watch like any show from the early 2000s, like Drake and Josh, for example, they're a very wealthy family.
Yeah, and it's just like normal.
And it's just normalized, yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Anyway, this has just been Ari ranting about how she was too poor to relate to TV back when she was a kid.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have to say, I think.
Hooray.
I did find it interesting that in Aronach's video, when she talked about Isabel cutting her chest open, that was like, she saw that as a positive sign, like there's still that light within me.
Me too. That's why I was saying like, this is it. That was like where I was getting the whole idea of like, this is the last chance.
Yeah.
There is still time, and this is it.
There was another video I watched, and their take, I don't remember their pronouns, but their take was that it was just like static, and it was like emptiness inside there. And that threw me, because I hadn't even considered that was, because like if you look at Isabel's face, like it looks relieved when she's looking in the mirror.
Yeah, because like, oh, it's still there. There's still time. I can go. I can do it. And I always feel like in my hopeful ass, I'm a depressed optimist, which is probably like the worst thing to be, because like I feel so much despair, but then I watch something like this and I'm like, no, she did it. She won. She's free. I have to believe it. Like I can't. My heart can't take it.
Yeah.
My heart hasn't been cut out by Mr. Melancholy. It just aches.
Yeah. So I guess I found it interesting that people found that ambiguity there, because I think,
that's like another layer of it, because like it's ambiguous in the end alone, because is she walking out of the place? Is she gonna keep doing it? Like this is her last chance. She's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I also talked with a couple people who watched the show ahead of the podcast release, my dad and a friend of mine, and my dad kind of didn't know what to think about it. I believe he said it seems like it's advocating suicide, which,
I can understand the reading, but
a cishet man approaching this media, like,
you have to,
I get it.
You have to die to your old self. To be trans is to kill off your old self.
Yeah.
Like
it depends on that metaphor. I
mean, it probably has some things to say about suicide. That's definitely a subtext there. Like tons of queer people kill themselves because we live in a society that hates us and blames us for everything.
Yeah.
Even things that can't possibly be our fault. So of course, why wouldn't then there be that subtext?
Right.
But it's interesting that that's what he immediately picked up on, instead of like, I had to think about it for a moment to realize that that's a valid way of interpreting it, because for me, I'm like, yeah, of course you have to kill. Owen has to kill Owen to be Isabel.
It's wild to me, as I know it is to you, that people watch this movie and think like maybe it's all in their head. The Pink Opaque is just a TV show. Like there's so much evidence to the contrary.
Right. I mean, like in the text, in the reality of the text, it is saying that the Pink Opaque is reality. It's the actualization. It doesn't mean that like literally a TV show is real. Like we're not like sitting here like, okay, like but like in the point of the story, in the mythos of the story, it's a real place, and it's the goal. The goal is to be who you are, and to fight melancholy.
Yeah, it's just, I guess that it's presented, like the chronology of it, I guess is why people, I don't know, man.
I mean, Jane
it's
Jane plays with that a little bit of like, like, oh, is it real? Is it not real? Especially like, and we're all going to the World's Fair. There's some of that, and it leans more on the side of it's not real, and that's the point. Whereas this movie, it is real, and that's the point.
because like it needs that tension there,
right?
But I think at the end of the day, it's a wild interpretation to say that like it's just all in their head.
That tension exists to demonstrate the difficulties at being yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like the fact that Isabel is scared shitless when Tara is like, hey, you got to bury yourself alive.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to represent how tall of an ask it is for somebody to die to their old self to be who they're supposed to be. And, and Tara comes off as crazy because to anybody who hasn't actually undertaken that process, it is crazy.
Yeah. And then my friend Misha watched it, and she has certain experiences with people who have had certain types of breaks with reality, and so that was kind of like what she focused on was like the scariness of like losing track of what's real. So that was maybe a barrier for her to
really enjoy it and to resonate with it. Yeah. Whereas like, ultimately what you understand as reality is being filtered through several layers of potentially perception altering things. Like what things look like to you is just a reconstruction of what they actually look like. Objective space is always subjectively experienced. And so like you don't have to be undergoing psychosis to have fear about perception, because perception is by its nature malleable.
Yeah.
I mean, like, shit, like you drink one beer and you've already like altered your perception of reality. Like, I don't mean like in like a big grand way, but enough. Like your inhibitions are lowered. Things that normally would repel you don't repel you as much. And it's like, so I can respect why somebody is like focusing on that and it like prevents them from it. But that's also kind of the point, is like what we think of as the truth and reality is in and of itself a subjective experience that is manipulatable by external and internal forces.
Right.
Like if you, like we talked about it in the We're All Going to the World's Fair episode, you can hypnotize yourself and like rewire your fucking brain.
Yeah.
And if you were experiencing objective reality, you would not be able to do that because the objectivity would be inalterable.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can kind of say the same things about the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why that the Matrix is like hardcore schizo posting, though, is because it's people take what I'm saying, the message I'm saying, and they're like, well, then my psychosis is reality, and it's not what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, and actually Misha mentioned the Matrix to me and like how she normally likes that kind of dynamic. I don't remember the word.
The idea that
used,
there's that reality is not real, and that there's a real space underneath it. Yeah.
But in I Saw the TV Glow, like
hit too
Tara
close to home.
Does come across
a little fucking crazy,
pretty fucking intense. Yeah. And we talked about on the episode that's like kind of her fatal flaw.
Exactly. That's what pushes Isabel away, is that being overzealous because you want someone to be who they are. You're like, just like, oh, come on already. Like, just do it. And then it's like, wait, shit.
Yeah. Okay. We don't need to make like a whole second episode on this movie. I think we've talked enough, and I promise we'll get back to new movies.
We're being censored right now. No, I've basically said everything I wanted to say too. So thank you, lovely listeners, for joining us once again for a Liminal episode. And again,
I do want to, I think we should do this on the Liminals, is announce what the next episode is going to be, which is going to be Phantasm. So if you would like to watch it ahead of time, you can do that. Phantasm 1, 1979.
Yep, we're really fucking silly in that episode.
Yeah.
Get ready for the jokes. We got the jokes.
But we welcome your interaction on Void Emissaries at bluesky.social.
At Blue Sky, and then at Outlook as well. Emissaries from the Void at Outlook.com, and then
yeah. All right, cool. See you then. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.